Hey everyone, so today I have the new iPad Pro 11-inch M4 model, as well as the new Apple Pencil Pro that just released. So let's go ahead and do the unboxing and get everything set up. So I did opt for the 256 silver version of the iPad Pro, and this year I got the 11-inch. Oh, and then as you can see, the front says Pro. We can put that to the side. So here we go. It feels pretty light. I mean, that's what everyone is saying. And I've seen a lot of videos on the 13-inch, so that one, which also seems very light, is very impressive. But even with the 11-inch, this feels really light and thin. Now, I don't have any of the previous 11-inch iPads. I do have a 13-inch iPad, but wanted to go try out the 11-inch. And as you can see here, that does look really thin. So when talking about how light this iPad is, specifically the 11-inch, we are looking at 446 grams, which is down from 470 grams on the previous 11-inch model of the iPad Pro. And we are also looking at 5.3 millimeters on the 11-inch. Then of course the 13 is the 5.1 millimeter, making that one the thinnest version, but of course they're both gonna be pretty thin. That's what Apple has marketed basically on the iPad. And as we're all saying, I don't know if anyone actually asked for a thinner iPad, but here we are with the thinner iPad. Let's see what else we have in the box. So we do get the braided cable, so USB-C to USB-C. And if you do order the iPad in space black, your cable will actually be black as well to match the device. So that's neat. And we have, I think, what, 20 watt? Yep, 20 watt power brick in the box. We have some books here, kind of a setup, and that's it. No stickers this year. Apple said they were doing away with the stickers for the environment. There we go, no stickers. All right, and I don't know if you can see, but the front-facing cameras are now on the side. This is gonna make it a lot easier when you're using your device for video calls, like FaceTime or even just Zoom business calls. Since most of the cases we all have are going to have our iPad in landscape mode, right? Landscape? Yes, I think that's the appropriate verbiage there. And then, but speaking of cameras, on the back, Apple did away with the ultra wide camera. So we only have one lens back there, which personally, I don't mind. I never took pictures with my iPad, so I'm not impacted by the removal of the ultra wide, but I know a lot of people were upset. So not only did we lose a camera, but the iPad is starting at about $100 more expensive than the previous year. So that's an unfortunate thing. That's just what happens. So we'll get everything set up. Okay, so we'll get that set up. We'll open up the Apple Pencil. I can. So here we go. Just another Apple Pencil. It does say Apple Pro. I wish they could have came up with a better name than Apple Pencil Pro, but what about like Magic Pencil or something like that? I don't know. It looks pretty similar to the previous Apple Pencil. But now the Apple Pencil Pro should have Find My, which is definitely handy to have. I don't know how many times I've actually lost my Apple Pencil like in the couch, just like between the seats when I'm using it. For whatever reason, I could never just put it on the side of the iPad. I always just have to put it down on the seat and I lose it. And there are times where I thought I'd had to buy a new one, but it ends up turning up. So that's nice. I think for me, the Find My is going to get used quite a bit, unfortunately. So we're downloading the software update, getting that all taken care of. And we're sitting at 94%, which is actually pretty good for just opening the box. Because I feel like sometimes you get devices, whether it's a phone, laptop, tablet, whatever the case is, and they're like almost dead. Good practice to just charge it anyway, but it's nice to kind of have some juice while we're setting up. I'm excited to take advantage of this OLED screen when it comes to just content consumption and everything that we use iPads for, which I guess is different for everyone. But this year, our iPads can now get up to 1,000 nits of sustained brightness, which is up from 600 nits on the previous models. We can actually get a peak brightness of 1,600 nits in HDR, which is nice. So if you're outside, you should be able to see this in bright conditions or just in general. Typically, I don't use my iPad outside. I'm in a more controlled environment indoors, but having a device that has effective screen brightness is always a plus. And what Apple did in order to achieve the high brightness with an OLED panel was essentially stacking two OLED panels on top of each other, making the tandem OLED. And that is how we were achieving that high brightness, as well as they mentioned deep contrast and vibrant colors. So that definitely sounds cool. Okay, so I was getting everything set up, and if you have a previous iPad, regardless of which one you have, you can use that device to set up a new device. So even if you have your iPhone, you can use that to set up your iPad. So I went through that process, and for whatever reason, the setup failed. So it is giving me this option to reset. I can't bypass it or anything. I don't know why it failed, but that is interesting, and it wants me to reset the iPad. Not like I had anything really set up to begin with. I don't even think like any apps downloaded. Like I barely got to log in. I might not even be fully logged in at that. Okay. Hopefully you don't run into that issue. Normally with Apple products, it's a seamless process. It may be user error, maybe iPad to iPad communication disconnect. I am honestly just dumbfounded by that because it's Apple. Everything just works. That is like their slogan, right? That's what everyone says. Everything just works. Or maybe no one says that. Maybe I made that up. I don't know. But here we are resetting this and we wait. Okay, we're trying this again. Okay, setting up Apple ID. Fingers crossed it works this time. Okay, I think we're actually getting somewhere this time. We are back and rocking and rolling. Okay, so everything set up. I mean, it's downloading stuff, but that usually takes a while. So we have the Apple Pencil Pro. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned this already, but we had to have a new Apple Pencil Pro. The Apple Pencil Pro is only compatible with the 2024 iPads. So whether you get the iPad Air or the iPad Pro, basically have to get a new Apple Pencil. If you have the previous Apple Pencil like I do, that's the non-USB-C version, it is not gonna work. Now, yeah, it doesn't really stay. And the reason for that Apple states is essentially since they moved the placement of the camera, they had to change basically like the magnets that are utilized to charge the pencil. Now, because of the internal hardware differences, it's just not compatible. So it sucks because an Apple Pencil, like they're not cheap. It's like $130. So if you have one and you can't even use it and you can't even trade it in, now it's just useless. Maybe you can sell it if you are upgrading. That's the only unfortunate thing for upgrading to the 2024 model. If you do want this new M4, specifically the M4 on the iPad Pro, you're gonna have to get all the new accessories, which honestly is not a surprise, but that's what we're looking at. I did order the Magic Keyboard, but unfortunately, that's not gonna be delivered until tomorrow. They did not have any available for me to pick up at Best Buy. But so far, this OLED screen, it looks nice. Like, you can definitely tell it's an OLED. I think things look a little bit more rich and crisp. Even these black squares that are essentially widgets, they're just not fully downloaded. These look completely black. Like, they kind of match the black that's on the bezel versus having a dark gray. If you have like an IPS panel, or I think, you know, mini LED panel like on the previous iPad, it's gonna give you more of that gray, dark gray versus that true black. OLEDs are super great for giving you those true blacks because it basically has individual pixels and each one can just shut off completely when it's not being utilized. So one, that's kind of some of that battery saver. So they jumped from the M2 to the M4 on the iPad Pro. And I think a lot of us were surprised by that because we were expecting the M3. But no, they introduced the M4, and the reasoning was because the M4 basically it has a new display engine that enables the nice colors that we see on the OLED. The way that they were stating it, in order to basically change the panel to OLED, they kind of had to jump up to that M4 because, you know, the M3 is already established, and I guess it just didn't have, I don't know all the science or technical stuff behind it, but it just didn't have everything that they needed in order to accomplish these great colors on the iPad. So in comes the introduction of the M4. But the M4 is obviously going to be powerful and pretty efficient, so they were able just to slim things down while maintaining the advertised 10 hours of battery life. I would have liked them to have kept it maybe a little bit thicker and given us a bigger battery, but 10 hours isn't bad. I didn't really have any concerns with the battery life on my current 12.9-inch iPad from 2021. It's gonna be fine, especially with the OLED panel. So you have the more efficient M4, but you also have the OLED panel. Like I said, the pixels just completely shut off when you're looking at like a dark image. So if you're playing games, looking at a dark image, have your screen on dark mode, that alone is gonna just preserve battery based off of how OLED technology actually works. At the end of the day, it's an iPad. Now we have great hardware, like we have a powerful, powerful chip, but I hope that with WWDC around the corner and the new iPad OS update, I hope that we can see just some changes that can help us actually utilize that power. Because what's the point of having all of this power in this thin device if we're not even reaching its full potential? And I think iPadOS is great. I mean, I'm able to use it for a lot of productivity work, especially when I was in school. The iPad was used like on a daily. I took my notes. Let's see, they're probably not gonna be on here. So yeah, when I was in school, I would take notes using GoodNotes, right? Is this GoodNotes? Yeah, GoodNotes. And look at all of my notes. I don't know, this is making me miss school. I know that's weird. I'm the only person that would ever say that. But yeah, no, I used my iPad a lot while in school. I think I went off tangent, but what I was saying is I hope that they can integrate just something new and innovative in iPadOS 18. And we all know that Apple's kind of hinting at the AI this year. So that'd be pretty cool to kind of see what they actually do with that. And honestly, that's kind of one of the reasons why I was like, I'm gonna get a new iPad, because I am anticipating them to do something great with it. Now, I don't recommend buying something in the hopes of future iterations or future updates. I would not say that. In this scenario, I'm not listening to my own advice, but you know, I wanted to grab one to do an unboxing with you all, and of course in hopes that they do something great with the future changes in software and things like that. At the end of the day, do you need to upgrade? No, you don't. My 2021 iPad works fine. And as we know, Apple makes great products that usually last for a good amount of time. So unless you actually just kind of want to jump into that OLED technology, or you need something a little bit more powerful because you want to do some video editing, totally understandable. I will probably try dabbling with some video editing with the iPad. So I hope that's a seamless process, and hope on using it more with my Magic Keyboard. I've actually never owned a Magic Keyboard. They're so expensive, but I did buy one. So I'm excited to try it out and just see how that whole thing works. But let's take a look at the Apple Pencil. So now we have like a squeeze gesture. I don't think anything is actually going to happen right now. I am not an artist by any means. I wish I were, but I'm just not. And I have not used Procreate in a minute. So, okay, maybe user error. When you squeeze it, there is haptic feedback, so I know I'm squeezing it, which the haptic feedback feels nice. So you know you're activating the squeeze button, whatever. But when you squeeze it, it's supposed to bring up a palette so you can quickly switch tools, line weights, colors, all of that jazz. It's not necessarily working for me, but that's probably user error. I did not read about it. Okay, I don't know how to use the squeeze gesture apparently, so I will work on that. So this is the iPad unboxing. I'm excited to have an 11-inch iPad again. I had one years ago. I think it was like maybe the 2018 model. I sold it, stuck with my 2021 12.9-inch, but look, it's so cute. And I do like this silver color. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the new iPad. Are you going to be upgrading to the new 2024 iPad Pro with OLED? Are you buying an iPad for the first time? If you're sticking with your OG iPad, let me know what your favorite thing to do with your iPad is, whether it's consuming content, creating art, whatever it is. I want to know what y'all are using your iPad for, because I really want to start using my iPad more and more and hopefully bring some other content along with me to share. But let me know what you would like to see down in the comments and just get this conversation going. Let me know any questions you might have. But that's gonna wrap this up. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more tech related content. And until next time, stay tech savvy and I'll see you in the next one.